You're listening to a Comics XF podcast.
X-Men. Get it!
Hey everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Battle of the Atom. This is your weekly X-Men podcast where we rank every story from A to Z.
I'm Adam.
I am Iron Man.
Iron Man? Wait, Zach, this is an X-Men podcast. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about Iron Man. I'm talking about Iron Man. You know him. His name's Tony Stark. He's in a lot of movies. The children think he's popular, much to my chagrin.
We've got 3 totally separate Iron Man related X stories this week. Believe it or not, he has crossed paths with X characters on a few different occasions. Some of these are very, very strange. And Zach,
I would argue all of them are very, very strange.
Yeah. Zach, who do we have?
They're strange tales, if you would.
Oh,
yeah, look at
tales,
me.
Tales of suspense, if you will. Who do we have to thank for making us talk about Iron Man?
We have Patreon supporter Michael Demolition Dunphy.
Great name.
I don't know if Demolition is what he's calling himself, but he needs to. Michael went over to patreon.com/Battle of the Atom, reached deep down into his hearts and pocketbooks, tossed a couple of coins right into our coffers. And
Our
you know those
coffers
are, those iron coffers, you know those coffers are empty because the man that the billionaire tech oligarchs like Tony Stark are keeping all the wealth for themselves. That 1%, we need to rise up and dispose Iron Man. That's what I think. I think, folks, suits. we need to develop our class consciousness and take down Iron Man, that bourgeois fascist.
Where are we going to start this week, Zach? Because these are some deeply strange stories.
We're going to go with what was recommended, what was requested for us. That is Iron Man Annual 8 from 1986. It's got a cover by Walt Simonson. It's got pencils by Paul Neary. And it's got words by the man who a few episodes ago I said I would die mad about. And that's Bob Harris.
I was thinking about that as I was reading this issue, which is pretty insane. This is a team-up issue where Iron Man and X-Factor, this is like the original version of X-Factor, right? Like they're still kind of the X-Terminators
era. Yeah.
Have to team up to save/fight, it's unclear, a character who goes by William Evans Jr., aka Grunt.
Now, Adam, have you done research on Grunt?
I have, because I was very curious that this is a character that had previously appeared in Fantastic Four. And I was also curious, based on the way this comic ends, to know when Grunt reappears, only to find out Grunt has never come back, which is a huge missed opportunity, comics writers.
Okay, well, hold on. Listen, Steve Orlando, slow your roll. Have you considered that it would be bad if a bad character came back? Have you considered that those comics may be unenjoyable as this one is?
Well, folks, first we should just introduce people to our audience. Probably has no idea who Willie Evans Jr. is. And he is essentially a reality warping young black man who is haunted by the specter of essentially you remember those Warner Brothers cartoons with the tap dancing frog and Top Hat who would only sing like
you're talking about Michigan J. Frog?
Michigan J. Frog, right?
Everyone knows about Michigan J. Frog.
Yeah, well,
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my rock tiger. Olivia will go with me. Baby,
so we
my
have
heart's so
a
far.
Michigan J Frog situation here, but imagine that any time that anyone else is not around, Michigan J Frog is like, "You need to kill your kindergarten teacher, Willie," and he's like, "Yes, you're right." That's
I'm
essentially.
just thinking about what other situations could be reasonably described as a Michigan J Frog situation.
I mean, this one is literal because he's haunted by this little specter of this frog in a suit and hat and a pipe, and his name is the frog's name is Grunt, and unfortunately, Grunt forces Willie to do some pretty terrible things.
Yeah, I don't know how to say this. Grunt is not good. But Willie is interesting, not for anything that happens in this comic, but as a artifact. This is a comic that almost entirely exists to clean up a loose end,
Mm-hmm.
but like a theoretical loose end.
Right.
Because in that Fantastic Four story, it ends with Willie's dad being like, "Oh, we'll take him to this Professor Xavier. He seems like he knows what's up with mutants." And what's interesting about that is that if you look at like the design sheet for Kitty Pryde
Mm-hmm.
that John Byrne did, Claremont writes his notes out for the character to be the first member of a second team of X-Men, like the New Mutants, the Proto-New Mutants.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, we could also include, quote, that black kid from FF203.
God. Oh, can you imagine if Willie Evans Jr. did make it onto the X-Men? That would have been wild.
I mean, not a good character. He's not interesting. Reality warpers are dumb and bad. None of them need to be ongoing concerns. And here's why. If they can warp reality, they can have no problems. Like,
all right, I'm going to defend this a little bit. And it's
I'm listening.
It's based mainly on the way this very long annual. I think this is like 40 pages or something like that. It's way too long for this story that maybe has about 20 pages worth of content. The way it ends, and we'll get to it in a second, but it does make me wonder whether somebody else could pick this up in an interesting way. Unfortunately, the bulk of this is about Willie having not killed, but really maimed his elementary school teacher to the point where Willie ends up in the clutches of Project Pegasus.
He gets kidnapped by the government, which
Seriously,
is not
yeah.
ideal.
No.
The Silver Centurion, Iron Man, in his, I don't want to say his good armor, but armor that I think we all love.
It's pretty good. It's the red and white armor.
Yeah, it's the one that they put in Iron Man 2, and we were excited. And then that movie was bad. Anyway, he shows up and he's like, Project Pegasus, what's this child doing here? And he's like, I don't think you should be kidnapping a child. And then Guardsman, a character I refuse to learn more about. He's not important. He is taking the place of Quasar at Project Pegasus.
Right.
And he's like, okay, Iron Man, I also think it's weird that we have an 8-year-old as a hostage. I don't think the U.S. government should be detaining children, deporting children, doing anything where children are being held against their will. I feel like that's not something the U.S. government should be doing. And Iron Man's like, I tend to agree with you here.
So they're already on the same page. And at the same time, the kid's father, Willie Evans Sr., decides to take matters into his own hands and go and hire X Factor at gunpoint.
X Factor accepts like cashier's checks, though. He didn't need to bring a firearm into this situation. They are mutant hunters. He is going to them and be like, hey, I got a mutant you need to hunt. It's my son. Yeah. Could you bring him back?
Yeah. But this has all kinds of cameos in it. We get a Reed Richards cameo. He talks about Franklin. We get Nick Fury involved here.
The Reed Richards thing is interesting.
Yes.
Because they end up Fantastic Four is around. Iron Man is talking about his concern about this. He's like, well, I don't know, because Iron Man's a government stooge. Let's be clear. Iron Man doesn't stop. Iron Man was specifically created by Stan Lee to be like, what's the most unlikable thing all these dirty hippies who are reading my comic? Can I make them, are they dumb enough to like the worst character? And that's why he's an arms dealer. He doesn't rescind being an arms dealer for like a while. It doesn't happen right away. He's still an arms dealer most of the time that he's Iron Man.
Yeah, he will be in one of these stories we're going to talk about today.
But he shows up and talks to Reed Richards about it and Nick Fury. And Nick Fury is the pragmatist. He's like, this kid could blow up the world. I get it, but I don't want the world blown up. That's my job. And Reed Richards is like, well, I got a son who's a friggin' reality warping mutant. Friggin', I would not let anyone kidnap him.
Right.
Tony, I'm not telling you what to do.
Yeah.
But like, there are very few people who are more capable of telling you what they would do in this situation.
Well, unfortunately, things do get out of hand, and we get Iron Man and Guardsman and the X Factor and Nick Fury, and we're all fighting Willie Evans as Grunt continues to take more and more control of this poor boy. And there's this giant laser crab, which sounds cool, and I'll give Paul Neary credit. I mean, the book looks pretty good. It's not Alan Davis, but you get a taste of that like energy that Paul brings to Davis's work when he's inking him. But you know, the art's just kind of okay.
I was going to say, I like the art. I think the story has an issue where it wants to tell a two-sided story. Like both sides have some valid points, but when Jean Grey is standing there saying, who are you to judge? You're just a dude in a suit of armor at the end of the day. You take it off and blend in with the masses. But we can't do that. We're born with our powers. They're a part of us. And this is where the voiceover should come in and say, note, script writers, if you want to make this point, use anyone else on the team but Jean.
Agreed. Now, where I want to get into the end of this story because unfortunately, and I did almost text you when I got to the end of this story, they kill this kid. Like he's dead.
They do absolutely kill this child. He explodes.
Yes, he's dead. And yet the last page supposes somehow that Grunt still lives on as he laments Willie Evans' death and sits upon his grave. And this does bring up an interesting thing. Was Willie Evans actually immune, or was Grunt its own entity that was like possessing him and, you know, controlling his mind? I don't know. Would I love Ryan North or some other capable, fun writer to bring Grunt back? Yes, I would, because it would be so funny to see Michigan J. Frog giving killer commands to the youth of America. I don't know.
This is how you know we are just so
we're down the rabbit hole.
But here's the thing, Adam. I can't blame you. Let he who is without sin throw the first stone. If I were to say the exact same thing but replace Grunt with Dirt Nap, no one would be like, yeah, Zach's insane. And they would, but they would be like, yeah, no, that's the bit. That's the thing. I get it. I don't find this interesting. I think it wants to do it's the same problem that Civil War has. It wants to do a story where it's like, well, I don't know. Should we be pragmatists or should we give people human rights? And it's really, I get that this kid does blow up and kill like people and isn't good, but that seems like a situation that you don't need a man with a laser suit to solve. You need like mental health counseling. And yes. I was going to say like a school like Xavier's, but historically has not worked out. I mean, something that's like Xavier's in concept, but is good and doesn't make the kids worse.
I appreciate that X Factor has a reckoning with the fact that Xavier couldn't help this kid. And it kind of like, they're like, oh, we thought he could help them. I guess not. But No, this is not what I would call good. It is entertaining in the ways in which we talked about, in that this is a story about a frog driving a kid mad to the point where they have to kill the kid. And that alone makes, like, I don't know, this is a weird curiosity, but I don't know if I could call it good.
I would not call it good.
I think we should try and rank this on our big old list, Zach. What is that?
A curse that we are burdened with for all time, I think.
Okay.
It is the albatross around our respective necks.
It's our choice.
It is our choice. We could quit anytime.
It's our pleasure. This is what we do.
I texted a friend this exact same sentence, so you know that I'm just like this all the time. In the words of Kill Switch Engaged, this is my curse. Our curse is that we're ranking every X-Men comic from best to worst. We have ranked 1,032 X-Men comics.
Good Lord.
That is too many.
Yeah.
But we've ranked them from best to worst, with the best being the House of X Powers of 10. At 250, we have Web of Spider-Man Annual 2. Wake me up. I gotta be dreaming. Warlock is a Godzilla in that one. Number 500 is Excalibur, Return of the Warpies. Number 750 is Betrayal in the Bermuda Triangle. That's the return of Lee Forster. 1,000 is the first Banshee with bizarre racism for the 60s.
Yep. It's true.
Like, the Irish were white by then. Why were we doing anti-Irish racism? I don't know. 1032 is 29.9 words. Tomorrow, worst X-Men comic of all time. Have we covered any other Iron Man comic on this podcast? The answer is, of course, yes. We covered Iron Man Special number 1 as part of No End in Sight, a crossover. It is at 988. This is better than No End in Sight.
I would agree. Looking in the low 800s, I think this is right around the quality of at 878 X-Men Unlimited number 32, the Dazzler behind the music.
This is worse, though. I'm going to say my ceiling.
Yeah.
876, Marvel Comics Presents 1 through 9, Vigil. That's about Wolverine's French daughter with the crystal claws.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's worse than Wolverine's French daughter with the crystal claws. That's who should come back in this story about Michigan J. Frog.
That'd be great.
I want to see Wolverine's crystal claw daughter in a Michigan J. Frog scenario.
Well, then why don't we put it right below that? Because I think this probably is at least a more interesting curiosity than the Marvel Digital Holiday Special at 878.
Does this make you want to read 80s Iron Man comics?
Not really, no. But
I've heard John Romita Jr. draw some of them.
I will tell you, this next book really did make me think that maybe I had the Silver Age pegged completely wrong.
Freaking this next one. Y'all, you know how sometimes we talk about dumb comics, and sometimes we talk about good comics, and sometimes they are one and the same.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you can't figure it out.
Oh, I figured it out.
You figured this one out?
Yeah. This is a great comic.
This comic is... We talked about the issue with Unis the Untouchable a little bit last week, or at least we brought it up. And Adam, this comic is the exact same amount of good. Like, it's the same flavor as that. This is Tales of Suspense 49. The new Iron Man meets the Angel. It's, you know it. You know it's by the sensational Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. Buddy, this one's weird.
Buckle up, folks.
It's got a cover that is credited to Jack Kirby, and it looks like it. Yeah. Iron Man is getting punched by Angel. Iron Man's wearing a metal suit, and Angel's just a dude. I don't think he can get punched.
I don't know. Angel, this is like his time to shine. You've read the Dark Angel saga. You ain't seen nothing till you've seen Angel get affected by radiation?
Don't
Question
worry
mark.
about you. You can't try and do the science. Okay, before we jump into this, I want to lay something out just to give people an
Please.
idea of how early this is. This is
Yeah.
1963 is when this comes out.
Yep.
To put this in perspective, this is less than a year since Iron Man has been created. This is
Mhm.
one of the first Iron Man comics. This is the 11th, actually. This is before the Mandarin is in Iron Man. He shows up next issue. This is
Crazy.
one issue after he gets his armor that looks like a good costume.
Well, he's
Second
wearing the
appearance of red and
he-
yellow.
yeah, he's wearing the yellow and the red here. He's not in the gray uniform anymore. But
Or
this
the
is
gold
very
version that was right after that.
yes. This is very amusing. So Angel's la di da flying through the sky, and he says, "Hey, I can take a shortcut to the Xavier Mansion." And where does he take a shortcut over but Stark Industries, which is going to have a just random, non-scheduled atomic weapons test in the middle
In
of
the middle of
Westchester?
town.
Like, what? Now, Iron Man flies up to be like, Angel, no, get out of the way. My suit
You
will protect
dummy.
me, but it won't protect you. And Angel is like, what's this dumb tin can man doing in my way? And doesn't
No,
get out of the
Angel,
way.
you're misunderstanding what I think is a very funny thing, or misremembering,
Yes.
because how could you remember specifics? Angel is saying someone is waving to me below. Gosh, it's Iron Man. I never thought I'd actually see him in the flesh. If that is flesh, I should go say hi. Oh, he's zooming up to me, probably just as anxious to see me. Boy, wait till I tell the gang at Professor X's about this. He's shouting something, trying to make me leave. But why? Explosion.
At which
Never,
point, at
never
which
let anyone tell you that Stan Lee rode on other people's coattails. He did, but also he was still Stan Lee.
I would like to read aloud the 3-panel passage in which the atomic energy that is part of this explosion changes our beloved Warren Worthington into someone who is obsessed with hanging out with evil mutants. I feel different, as though I'm a new person, a smarter, craftier, slyer person. And yes, I admit it, a far more evil person.
And we're laughing at this here. I'll say Steve Ditko knocks it out of the park on those panels. He does
Oh,
really effective storytelling.
it is really great. Now, Angel then proceeds to go back to the Xavier Mansion and basically beat up the X-Men to the point where Professor X is like, oh no, my entire child soldier idea is such a failure. I can't believe I thought this would work, which is great.
It is really good.
And then
It's
Angel is like going to stand on a water tower and he's like, why haven't the evil mutants come to hang out with me yet? I don't understand.
I I love how this is all set up. It's insane. What I also love is that we get to see Steve Ditko draw the X-Men, which is not a thing
Yes.
he did very frequently. And they look like weird Steve Ditko freaks.
Mm-hmm.
But this is going to sound sacrilegious. I kind of think that would have been a better fit for X-Men. Like,
Sure. Make him look
I,
real weird.
it's why Silver Age Doom Patrol
Mm.
works better than Silver Age X-Men, because Silver Age Doom Patrol is about a bunch of freaks.
Yeah.
And X-Men kind of wants to be about a bunch of freaks, but it's Jack Kirby characters, so they look like heroes.
Yeah.
And they, like, Cyclops looks like a freak. Angel looks like a freak. Bobby looks like this weird conglomeration of stuff. I like weird, freaky Steve Ditko designs for the X-Men. I think that works pretty good.
Yeah, it's great. I think it's also very funny how Stan Lee contrives ways for Angel to beat up the rest of the X-Men who are clearly more powerful than him. That's pretty funny.
100% that was Steve Ditko. 100%. Stan Lee's entire contribution to that was, and then they fight the X-Men and Angel beats them up and leaves.
Pretty solid impression.
You know what? I'm trying. And then
Iron
you put dialogue in
Man-
afterwards. But yes.
Iron Man defeats Angel and gets him back into his senses by basically making it look like he's going to fall to his death, which makes Angel's conscience kick back in. I don't know what this has to do with the atomic radiation that he absorbed or didn't absorb or has worn off, or I really couldn't tell you. I don't think the story cares as much, but by the end of the story, Angel's back to normal. Professor X is very happy that he can continue on with his mission. He knew it. He knew it all along, and so did Iron Man. And this issue was enjoyable. I loved it.
This is such a weird comic. It's kind of great.
It's really fun.
I think this is nearly better than just about not any Stanley Jack Kirby X-Men comic. But it's like, this is one of the best Silver Age X-Men stories, like especially of the early Silver Age.
Yeah, like we've got X-Men 8, the Unus the Untouchable issue up at 193. I don't know if it's that entertaining, but like it's got that similar Silver Age goofiness that really just make me smile. I don't know what else to say. It makes me laugh.
Like, I'm going to be thinking about this comic. That's the thing. I'm going to be thinking about Professor X just sitting there being like, so I did not fail. My X-Men training program is successful. Even under the influence of atomic radiation, Angel could not permit a fellow mortal to die.
It's great.
Like, is that what you were training him to do, Chuck? Is that what you were doing? Also, Steve Ditko draws Charles Xavier with a weird head.
Oh yeah, he's got a monster noggin. It keeps growing.
Weird brain. I love it.
Yeah, I like it a lot. But where is X-Men #1 on this list?
Lower than most people would want it to be.
I mean, X-Men #1's not.
X-Men #1's kind of a bad comic.
I feel like this is better than X-Men #1.
Hey, do you know how hard it is to search for X-Men space #1?
Anything on this list? Yeah.
So we're just going to look at every X-Men comic with a 100 in it, including Uncanny X-Men, including any X-Men comic with a 10 in it. Like, no, we're not going to find it. This is better than X-Men The Last Stand Collector's Edition DVD movie with comic book at 550 or 532, which you have highlighted.
Is it better than
No, I think it's better. I think it's better than that DVD comic.
Yeah. At 500 is the
526 is X-Men #1.
Oh, we found it. Look at that.
We found it. Look at that.
Right. So it's better than X-Men #1.
It is better than X-Men #1.
Is it better than at 500 the Return of the Warpies arc of Excalibur by Alan Davis?
You know, I don't really like the Warpies.
I think there's more artistically going on there than this, but I could go up a little bit further.
I have found a beautiful spot on the list that I think you will agree with.
Do tell.
I will highlight I think this goes somewhere between 479, which is Savage Avengers, The City of Sickles, which is a dumb comic complimentary, and Dark Reign, The List, Wolverine #1, the comic where Phantom X, Wolverine, and Marvel defeat the bad guy with the power of atheism.
All right, I'm gonna say it should go.
Look at what's in there. Just look at what's in that. I just want you to know what's in that range. Sabretooth in Charge. That time when Omega Red gets a tiger. We have World War IV is in there. We have 2099, The Gathering. That's the first 2099 arc. Like this is the spot, buddy.
I'll be honest, I like this comic better than any of these. I think it
Oh
makes
my.
I think it makes sense to put it just below New X-Men 122 to 126 Imperial, a very good story with some very bad art.
I'm gonna say something insane, Adam.
Yeah.
I think it goes one slot above that,
Yeah.
below X-Men 2099, about Zhao and his
Yes.
X-Men.
Great. This is our
This
new
is 478.
478 Tales of Suspense, number 49. If you would like a good chuckle, check this issue out. It is great. I did not chuckle very much at this last story, Zach, which does not have Tony Stark, but does have James Rhodey.
Do you like Rhodey? I feel like in the 90s, Rhodey was a bigger deal than he has ever been since.
I've never been a Iron Man reader, so Rhodey doesn't really have a big impact on me at all.
Okay, but War Machine had Big Gun on him.
Yes, War Machine was a fun kind of gimmick in the 90s, but I didn't know much about the character. I still don't.
Oh, I don't think anyone knows anything about James Rhodey Rhodes. But this is Sentinel Squad ONE. It's written by John Layman, who you may know from the Left Behind comic books.
Get out. That's who wrote this?
Bud, do you know how much? One, John Layman has also written like Chew, and he wrote the Cyclops series after Rucka left. Like, he has an actual career. Bud, do you know how many times I have almost bought every single Left Behind comic book?
Ugh, okay. Just for like
you okay, hold on. No, you don't know, Adam. You don't know. You don't know what it was like to grow up in an evangelical house in the early 2000s. Do you think
I'm sorry.
Do you think I'm not constantly thinking about Cameron Buck Williams in Rayford Steele?
Are these Left Behind characters?
Yes. Buck Williams is the journalist. Rayford Steele is the airline pilot. They become part of the tribulation force.
The latter is the one that was played in one movie by Nick Cage. Is that correct?
I believe Nick Cage played Rayford Steele and Chad Michael Murray played Buck Williams.
Amazing.
In the 2014 Left Behind movie.
Yes.
In the original Left Behind movie, the first Left Behind movie, which every evangelical household had at least one copy on VHS tape.
Is that the Kevin Sorbo version?
No, Kevin Sorbo wasn't in this. We had Kirk Cameron. Get out of here.
Oh, there we go. Sorry. I was thinking of
that was based on
right.
Kirk Cameron, actors. Though. Who did he play? He played Buck Williams. He did not play Rayford Steele. Because Buck Williams has a more active role in the Rise of the Antichrist at the UN. Of course, the UN is, as we all know, the UN is an evil establishment that the Antichrist. Right. Nikolai Carpathia, I didn't have to look that up. That's off the dome.
Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry.
No, he doesn't show up until the last book.
Woo.
I'm kidding. You think there are not Left Behind books after Armageddon and after book 15, The Glorious Appearing?
There are 15 of those books?
Bud, hold on. No, there are.
How long does the rapture last? Good God.
7 years. 7 years. Do you not know this?
But why?
You obviously did not have the same type of anxiety that I had as a child.
Yeah.
Do you know rapture anxiety was very real?
Wow.
No,
you thought it was coming. You thought it was happening.
No man knows the day nor the hour. It'll happen in a twinkling of an eye, Adam. No, there are 12 books between the Left Behind, A Novel of Earth's Last Days, and Glorious Appearing, The End of Days. Then there is a 3-part prequel series, and a sequel, Kingdom Come, The Final Victory, which is about the millennia reign in heaven, which I don't understand how that would be. But here's the weird thing, Adam. You would think, oh, that's all. No, there's also Left Behind the Kids, which is a 40-part series.
I don't want to know all this.
A 40-part series about some kids who are also left behind, who join the Tribulation Force and have their own adventures.
Jesus Christ.
These, I say 40. These are books in the same way that like Animorphs was a book.
Yes.
It was their play at jumping into those. You think I did not have multiple copies of the Left Behind and the Kids? Anyway, I think about the Left Behind series more than most people should.
I don't
It
want
was
to go
just-
on another tangent here because we're getting way out of.
No, I think people are really enjoying this. Can I say one more Left Behind thing?
Yes, and then I want to just drop a brief nugget, but go ahead.
Lou Gossett Jr. plays the president in the
Oh
third
my
Left
God.
Behind movie, which is an adaptation of the third and fourth books.
Amazing.
It's about
Amazing
World War
casting.
III. Anyway,
I
continue.
just want to note for listeners, because I'm more of the late Gen X, that I didn't really know about Animorphs, and I recently learned about Animorphs, and boy, that is a messed up story, and I won't be forgetting it anytime soon. What's going on
Animorphs.
there?
That guy got turned into a hawk and he got stuck as a hawk?
I mean, I didn't realize there were like aliens and stuff in that. Anyway,
Yeah, I don't remember. They're not the Znox, but they're something
Similar.
similar.
yeah. All right. So, Sentinel Squad ONE, written by John Layman, drawn by Aaron Lepresti, and inked by Extreme Studios' own Norm Rapmond. This is not a good comic book.
So, this came out in 2006. This is about, in the Decimation, when mutants were at the Xavier Institute, like all the mutants are
Yep.
at the Xavier Institute, and
That's
there were
right.
sentinels guarding them.
Yes.
What if we told a story about the real heroes inside of those sentinels?
When I
Led
got to the
by-
last page and realized that this was just a prequel to explain who the people were inside the Sentinels guarding Xavier Mansion during this period, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Please tell us all about the stellar cast that we'll be caring for decades.
Well, you've got the professor, you've got Joni, who does not want to be called Joni. She wants to be called Rajani because that's her name.
Yes.
There's Stilts, there's Bulletproof Briggs, there's Sky, that's Tracy Skylark. There's Lex, there's Meld, who is a mutant child who was taken in by the US government and just turned into a child soldier into a regular adult soldier. That's weird.
It's okay. He does get to go home at the end of this, but he doesn't have a home to go to. So I don't know what that means.
He more goes AWOL from the
Yeah.
US government.
Yes.
Anyway, Val Cooper has a great idea to say, we have all of the Sentinels, but Sentinels, they've gone bad more than twice.
Mhm.
So, because we're not going to not have these weapons of mass destruction, what if we put people inside of these things?
Wow.
What if they got in the robots, Shinji, and they could make all of the hard decisions? People, notoriously flawless in their decision making.
And that's pretty much it. I mean, the bulk of the first part of this book is them training to operate these Sentinels. They do training exercises where they fight Galactus for some reason. There's
But like a hologram version of it.
yeah,
And they all their Sentinels, they have like a recon Sentinel and a stealth Sentinel. But
they're all
Aaron
just
Lepresti does
Sentinels.
not. Yeah, they all just look like Sentinels. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Sentinels. The reason why they keep trying to make Sentinels as a heroic thing happen is because Jack Kirby did a really cool design.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they don't do all these books want to talk about how, hey, these are genocide robots, right? But this book like half addresses it and they're like, hey, this is kind of weird, right? And then never brings it up again. It's absolutely wild because eventually the anti-mutant bigot member of this team, which by the way, guys, hey, if you're trying to fix the image of the Sentinels and their genociding, don't make the anti-mutant bigot on the team the squad leader. after James Rhodey Rhodes is presumed missing.
Well, that would be Briggs, and Briggs is not only Briggs is an Briggs's character who I really was thinking about as I was reading this, because Briggs is designed to be an anti-mutant racist and a claustrophobe who will eventually betray the team in order to take charge of it. Also thought it was very strange that they made sure that that character was African American. It's an interesting choice.
They're trying to make a point about something. I don't know.
I guess
I don't.
the reason I was thinking
It's
about
an
it was
intentional
mainly,
choice.
mainly because the From the Ashes books continue, especially Simone, have made similar choices repeatedly in the new era, and I just find that interesting. Anyway, they do, like you said, have to go rescue James Rhodey.
I mean, we know what the answer is. It's because this is the character that quote unquote should know better. And it's an easy way of saying, well, look, bigotry can happen to anybody. And I'm not sure that's, listen, Marvel, you know what the demo of your audience is. I'm not sure you need to make that point. I'm not. I think, look, I'm white. I'm perfectly fine saying that, yeah, hey, white people made some bad choices in life. Like, just as a culture. That's not me as a person. It's just, I gotta accept that. You don't have to like baby me, Marvel. I'm smart. I'm a big boy. Though I've met comics fans, so maybe you do have to baby comics fans.
Maybe. So
Not saying you should. I'm just saying that as I'm talking about it, I'm remembering literally everyone else I've interacted with. Comics.
Yeah. There's probably some people out there who maybe, I don't know. Anyway, they go and rescue a failed Sentinels mission down in the Savage Land.
Down in the Savage
Thank
Land.
You. I know geography. And unfortunately,
it's fake geography.
The antagonist of this finale, which is not only they mutate Brainiac, which sucks.
Why are they even in the Savage Land to begin with? It's weird, right?
They don't know. They never explain it.
They never explain it. I think it's just because dinosaurs are big enough that robots can fight them.
Well, they also have Brainiac has designed T-Rexes with helmets that can make them not only smart but also telekinetic. And so they have to fight off these dinosaurs and then rescue James. And Zach,
I know we're describing something that sounds dope as heck.
No, it's not. It's not. It's very bland. It's told in Lopresti's style is very much a Mark Bagley House style that is not doing anything exciting. Everything is very flat. You know, when characters do things that are supposedly exciting, like one of them turns out to be a mutant and has like electricity powers, it's like shrug. I don't care.
There's too many characters in this book. Here's the thing. If they made this a book about 3 characters, about Meld, about Briggs, and about guy who's secretly a mutant who I don't remember his names. If they made a comic just about these 3 and you had the attention just on these 3, it would be better. But you have all of these other characters who have like one bit of personality in them, and you have all the politicking that's going on that gets half of an answer between, what's going on with Val Cooper and with General Laser, which bad name. I know that's not
I'm going to disagree. Fault, that's a great name. It's just a bad character.
His name's his name's General Laser with a Z. And and
he sucks. It's a bad character, but that's a great name.
That's a great name for fake Dr. Doom. That's a bad name for regular. Call him Commander Smith. Like, give him whatever generic name. I only remember General Laser because every time I read it, I'm like, they didn't do a second pass on that one? And they spelled it with a Z? Rhodey does nothing in this. It is weird when Rhodey said, yeah, so Tony Stark helped build all these Sentinels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's weird.
They have they have Iron Man technology in them.
It's 2006. I feel like Marvel. Well, wait, hold on. Mm-hmm. No, because Civil War hasn't even happened yet.
No.
If this was Tony Stark, director of S.H.I.E.L.D., I would almost buy that. But this is Extremis era Tony Stark. He wouldn't be making Sentinels.
It's very strange. It's strange to see Rhodey involved in this at all. I don't understand the motivation. Val Cooper makes sense.
Oh, no one questions when Val Cooper has a bad idea.
No. But boy, this was just a dud, and it really put in stark relief. I really enjoyed Packnatal and Justin Mason's Sentinels that just wrapped up. I thought that was a really fresh take with a fun idea and a really distinct artistic style. And I know we're not talking about that this episode, but like, gosh, I was just like, let me just go reread that. I don't want to be reading this book.
Because even though I'm not as hot on that book as you are, that's a book that chooses to engage with the topic.
Yeah.
It chooses to say, okay, now listen, say we've got some people who are dealing with genocide robots. What does that do to somebody? That's also a comic that is not afraid to say government's bad.
Yes.
And the military industrial complex is bad. In this comic, I'll give Layman credit. It feels like he wants to do that, but I'm also cognizant that it is 2006 and maybe you aren't able to push that as far as you would want. But end of the day, it doesn't happen. At best, you get these people who are like, well, being a government slave is bad for this one green mutant who's our friend.
Yeah.
But we will be the prison guard around every other mutant.
Yeah. It's not a very uplifting ending, that's for sure. So
no, it sucks. The ending, the last page cracks me up because it is the Sentinel Squad ONE landing on the lawn of the Xavier Institute saying, let's not keep our friends waiting. All of the X-Men are looking up like, oh, this is bad. There are Sentinels on our lawn.
Mm-hmm.
This is the last page to a much better comic. Like, if every other issue leads up to this very ironic ending, like these people don't understand what they're doing and what this means to people, and they really think that they are the good guys and that they can go into, I don't know, let's just pick a location, the Middle East in 2006 and destabilize an entire region and like deal with that. Maybe there's an interesting story there. That's not the story we get.
No, it
also,
isn't.
All these characters wear the same clothes and all the Sentinels look the same. So I have no idea who anyone is at any given time.
No, that's really a cardinal sin, is you really don't care that much about who these characters are or why they're doing that.
Comic artists are really good. How do they not know that you need to have not just differing silhouettes, but like
personalities,
striking personalities, designs, like visually distinct characters, especially when you're trying to introduce a lot of new characters. Give them freaking their own Gundam versions of the Sentinels. It's what this wants to be, is a Gundam comic.
Yeah. So down at 942, we have X-Men Liberators. I would say this is about on par with that.
Hold on.
That at least has the benefit of having some X-Men in it. This has none.
I would read X-Men Liberators a lot more. Hey, I'm going to say something, and I don't like that I'm saying it, but I'm going to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Better than the first arc of Uncanny Avengers. And yes, that is inclusive of the Call Me Alex speech.
Yeah. Is it better or worse than Magneto Rex?
It's worse than Magneto Rex. It's worse than Uncanny Avengers. Like, I think it's worse than those things.
Oh. I thought you were saying, okay, sorry.
No.
How about that Weird Legion miniseries at 948?
That Weird Legion miniseries has some good art in it.
Okay. So we're working our way down.
I'm trying to find where the floor is for me.
I know you're probably going to speak up for X-Men The End Book 1 at 950, even though that's terrible. Is this as bad as X-Men Black Sun at 953? I don't think it is.
Man, we got some really bad comics on here.
Yeah.
Put it above Black Sun. Put it below that Generation X annual.
All right, great. So this is our new 953 Sentinel Squad ONE. You could skip that one.
It's
We
bad.
did it, Zach. We did 3 Iron Man stories. Thanks to
Iron Man? Black
What?
Sabbath?
No.
Sorry, I have to tab over. cut the part where I forgot the person's name. It's written down. Thanks to Michael Demolition Dunphy. If you want to be like Mike, like that little Bow Wow movie, you can go over to patreon.com/BowTheAtom, reach deep down into your hearts and pocketbooks, and give me the money that I need to purchase all of the Left Behind graphic novels.
That's not what he's going to use the money for, folks.
Do not pretend like I would not. Left Behind graphic novels, eBay.
Oh no!
I just need to know. I just need to know what it would cost to get all of them. Complete. Oh no, that's the complete actual novels. Which, okay, here's what I'm gonna say about Left Behind. Last thing I'm gonna say about Left Behind.
I hope so.
Honestly, I think the cover design's really good for all the Left Behind books. Like, I think there's a great graphic hit on it. It is very much it's what Civil War copied. Like, Marvel Civil War trade dress?
It's very similar.
They just copied Left Behind's homework.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, we got to stop talking about Left Behind. You said that was the last thing.
That was the last thing. Fine. You're right.
Folks, if you want to follow on social, you can go to Blue Sky or Instagram. Look for Adam Rec. Zach, what are we doing next week?
Oh, next week we are talking about a mutant society.
Oh, I've heard of those.
3 mutant societies. 3 mutant societies. So we will talk about all of them. But until then, folks, this has been Battle of the Atom. We hope you survived the experience.
Get it!